Hi, my name is Marc Belaiche. I'm president of TorontoJobs.ca. Thanks for watching. In this video, I share with you some killer interview questions. Now, these could be good for recruiters or for people looking for a job as well. Generally, there's three types of interview questions that you can ask as a recruiter. One of them is a standard interview question, such as where do you live, what are your strengths and weaknesses? These are pretty standard questions. Behavioral questions are a little bit different. So questions such as tell me about a time when, or what would you do if this were to happen. So it's more of a situational type question, trying to get information from a job seeker as to what they would do more from a behavioral perspective. And then the third type of question is what I call the wild card question. So these are questions such as if you were an animal, what animal would you be and why? Or what's your favorite book and why? So these are types of interview questions that you would get. Now, I had come up with my list of killer interview questions. Now, I would put these questions in the category of wildcard questions because they're intended to put the employee a little bit out of their comfort zone and they need to think on their feet. They can't prepare for these types of questions. You'll get more about a candidate by asking these kinds of questions because if they practiced answering standard interview questions, you will get to see how they really are. So here are some examples of some killer interview questions. Now, you may have your own, and feel free to share them in the comments section. What's the biggest mistake you made in your life, and what did you learn from it? If in 3 months you found the job not to be what you expected it to be, what would you do? What defines your perfect job? What is one misconception people have about you? Why shouldn't I call for a reference, and why? This gives you some information about what they're like, if they're an open book, if they're kind of afraid that somebody might say the wrong thing about them. Who at your former place of work gave you the most energy and why? And if, depending on what happens there, and explain, maybe there's somebody there that they can be partnered with, for example, at your organization. What do you think will be the biggest challenge you and I will face in your first 3 months on the job? So they might feel like, hey, this is a time that I'm kind of a little bit afraid of you. Maybe I'm not sure what I need to do and you need to train me more. So that the purpose of that kind of question is to give you a little bit more insight as to what they're like. What kind of person do you like to work with? Again, if they're in a team or working with you, you want to get an idea as to what they're like. You are on your deathbed. For what do you want to be remembered? That would be good. Can you do this job and why? So it puts them trying to understand how they feel about the position in terms of their strengths and weaknesses and what they might struggle with. Why are you qualified? What was your most and least satisfying job and why? What's been your best work that you think you are proud of yourself, and what about it could you have done better? So really on that one, you're trying to find out where they can improve, self-improvement. Have they been improving themselves? What are top two professional traits people in the company will miss or not miss the most about you? Now, obviously, this is for somebody who's working, but again, it gives you insight as to what's happening. So what was unfair about your last job? Again, gives you insight as to what they feel maybe they were shortchanged. And maybe finally, tell me in no more than 2 words what you think we do. Now that's pretty tough. 2 words is pretty tough. Now you may say 5 words or 10 words or whatever, but 2 words is pretty tough. So it keeps them thinking. So in conclusion, you may have your own interview questions that you use during interviews, but unless you do a lot of interviews, you're probably not that experienced in asking interview questions or conducting interviews. So practice, practice, practice. Remember to stay away from any discriminatory questions when you're doing interviews, such as questions that would reveal a person's age or marital status or religion or how many kids they have and so on. You may have other questions or suggestions or comments that you use when you're doing interviews. Feel free to share them in the comment section below. My name is Marc Belaiche. I'm president of TorontoJobs.ca. I wrote the book called Tales from the Recruiter. It's available on Amazon, Kobo, or if you visit talesfromtherecruiter.ca, you'll be able to check it out. Also, check out our Toronto Recruiters YouTube channel as well, where you see a number of videos that we have posted. And follow us on all our social media at LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And connect with me on LinkedIn as well if there's anything I can help you out with. Thanks for watching. Have a great day and stay safe.